CBSE biology classes. So children, in our previous session we discussed about the connective tissue, right? So we discussed the vascular or a fluid connective tissue. So in the fluid connective tissue, so we have completed the blood, right? So in the blood there are two components are there, right? So those are the solid component and the liquid component. So in the solid component, WBC, RBC and the blood platelets, and in the liquid component we discussed about the plasma, and also we discussed the general functions of the blood, right? Now next we will move to the another fluid connective tissue. Fluid connective tissue, right? Which is the another fluid connective tissue? Yes, it is lymph. So lymph, it is colorless. It is colorless. It is colorless. The composition of the lymph is the same as that of the blood, except the color, because in the blood the hemoglobin is present and that hemoglobin gives the red color. In case of the lymph, the hemoglobin is absent and it is colorless, right? And the main function of the lymph is to give the immunity. It also helps to give the immunity. So immunity, it means that it is the capacity to resist against the disease causing germ. So generally this lymph is nothing but the intracellular fluid, or you can say that this lymph is present in between the tissues, or it acts as a middleman. It acts as a middleman because it is present in between the tissues and it can reach there where the blood cannot reach, right? And it gives the immunity. So this completes your fluid connective tissue, right? So now we will move to the another type of the animal tissue, that is muscular tissue. So children, up to now we completed the epithelial tissue, connective tissue. So in the connective tissue again their types, right? And now we will move to the muscular tissue. So next is the muscular tissue. All the types of the movement in our body is mainly due to the muscular tissues, right? All the movements in our body is mainly due to these muscular tissues. These muscular tissues, they contains a long fiber like cell, and these cells are called as a muscle fiber. These are called as muscle fiber, and these muscle fibers are highly contractile, right? These muscle fibers are highly contractile, means that highly contractile. It means that it is capable to expand and relax. It is capable to expand and relax, right? And that is the reason that easily we can do our hand limbs or the muscles, easily we can move them, because due to the presence of these muscle fibers. And these muscle fibers having a proteinaceous substance, they are having proteinaceous substance, and this proteinaceous substance is called as a myofibril. It is called as myofibrils. So children, remember the cells which are present in the muscle tissue or a muscular tissue is called as a muscle fiber, and these muscle fibers are highly contractile. They can expand and they can relax, and these muscle fibers contains or having the thread-like structures or thread-like proteinaceous substance, and that proteinaceous substance is called as a myofibrils, and these myofibrils are generally present in the form of bands, right? So these are the general features of the muscular tissue. Now again, these muscular tissues are classified into three types, right? Which are those? Which are the three types of the muscular tissues? The first one is unstriped muscular tissue, striped muscular tissue, and the third one is cardiac connective tissue, right? So now let's study about these muscular tissues. So now see the first one is striped, or it is also called as a striated muscular tissue. So this is unstriped or unstriated muscular tissue, and the third one is cardiac muscular tissue. Now first come to the right, the striped or striated muscular tissue. Now these striped or striped muscular tissues, see these are like this. So these cells are the cells which are present in the muscular tissue are called as what? Muscle fibers, right? So here the cells are long cylindrical, they are long cylindrical, and they are long cylindrical and unbranched. They are long cylindrical and unbranched. And these cells, tissue, right? This tissue is attached to the bone. This tissue is attached to the bone, right? And helps in the movement. And since it is attached to the bone, this tissue is also called as a skeletal tissue. This is important. You need to remember this one. Why the striped muscular tissue is called as a skeletal tissue? Why it is called as a skeletal tissue? Because this muscular tissue is attached to the bone and helps in the easy movement of the limbs. That's why it is called as the skeletal tissue, right? Or it is also called as a skeletal muscular tissue. So the cells are long, they are cylindrical, and they are unbranched, and these muscle fibers or these muscle cells, right? These muscle cells are having a protective covering, and this protective covering is called as sarcolemma. It is called as sarcolemma, and inside the sarcolemma there is a fluid which is called as a sarcoplasm, which is called as what? Sarcoplasm, right? The protective covering of these muscle fibers is protected by the layer called as the sarcolemma, and inside this there is a fluid which is called as the sarcoplasm. plasm, right? And in these cells, the myofibrils, right? So myofibrils, they are having the dark and the light bands. Like this, they are having the dark and the light bands. And due to presence of these dark and the light bands, this tissue gives the appearance of striated, and that is the reason that it is called as the striated muscular tissue. Understood this one? See here, the muscle fibers are protected by the covering called as a sarcolemma, and inside the cell there is a fluid which is called as the sarcoplasm, and in the sarcoplasm the myofibrils are present, and these myofibrils are arranged in a dark, and see, this is a dark and the light bands, and giving the appearance of the striated, right, like stripes, and that is the reason that they are called as the striated or the striped muscular tissues, right? So due to the presence of the light and the dark bands, right, they are called as what? Due to the presence of light and the dark bands. These cells are multinucleated. They are multinucleated. So multinucleated, it means that multi means what? They are having many nucleus, right? So since they have many nucleus, they are called as multinucleated. So the location of these striped muscular tissue, so generally it is present in the limbs, right? Now next we'll move to the unstriped or unstriated or the smooth muscular or smooth muscle tissue. So here the cells are like this. They are long, they are also long, like this. They are long, spindle shaped, right? They are long, spindle shaped, and they are tapering at the ends. Here, when you see this one, they are long, they are cylindrical, but they are not tapering. The cells are here, they are long, spindle shaped, and they are having the tapering ends. They are having the tapering ends, right? And the cells or the muscle fibers are protected by a thin plasma membrane. It is protected by a thin plasma membrane. Okay, and here, like in these muscular tissues, how you will see the bands? You cannot see the light and the dark band in these tissues, right? So, and this smooth muscle tissue is uninucleated. It is uninucleated. So, uninucleated, it means that these are having the single or a one nucleus. That's why they are uninucleated. Children, I told that these skeletal tissues are present in the limbs, right? And we know that we can move our limbs according to our wish. If I want to raise my hand, I can raise my hand. If I don't want to raise my hand, right, nobody can force me to raise the hand, right? For these activity which I can control or which can be controlled by the will of animal. What do you call for these activity? Yes, this is called as voluntary activity. So these muscular or these skeletal tissue is voluntary, right? Voluntary means the movement of these muscle tissues can be controlled by the will of animal, right? Whereas the smooth muscle, in the smooth muscular tissue, it is involuntary. Involuntary in sense that these cannot be controlled by the will of animal. So where these are present? So generally in the limbs, right? And since we cannot control this one, these tissues are generally found in alimentary canal, right? In the alimentary canal, in the walls of stomach, intestine, in the walls of stomach, right? In the intestine and also in the urinary bladder. Also in the urinary bladder. So, in our lower classes, you have studied that. So, we know that. What is this one? When you are studying about the digestive system. So, this is a food pipe, right? And this is the stomach, okay? Now, tell me what movement is shown by the food pipe or esophagus, right? What are those movements? What is the technical term for that? Yes, those movements are called as peristaltic movement. And we know that due to these peristaltic movement or rhythmic contraction and the expansion, due to the rhythmic contraction and the expansion of the esophagus, the food is pushed into the stomach, and these peristaltic movements are mainly due to the smooth muscles, because in the alimentary canal these smooth muscles are present and they facilitate these kind of movements, right? And since these movements or these activities cannot be controlled by the will of animal, those are called as involuntary activities, right? So here they are long and spindle shaped, they are tapering ends, uninucleated, involuntary and present in the alimentary canal, in the walls of the stomach, in the intestine and also in the urinary bladder. Now, next we will move to the cardiac muscular tissue. So, we know that where these cardiac muscular tissues are present? Yes, they are present in the heart, right? So, these cells are like this. See, these cells, when you see this one, these cells are similar to that of, right, the skeletal muscular tissue, right? So, they are also long, cylindrical. Only the difference is that here they run parallel to each other and here they are branched, right? Here they are branched, whereas here in this case they are unbranched, right? And these cardiac muscle tissue are present in the heart, and that is the reason that the heart works 24/7 non-stop, because these tissues are very strong, right? These are very strong and these are involuntary in the function, right? They are involuntary in the function because the beating of the heart cannot be controlled by the will of the animal. So obviously they are involuntary in the function, right? So here only you have to remember, in the cardiac tissues, these are present in the heart, they are long, cylindrical and branched, and children, here in this tissue also the alternate light and the dark bands are present. Only the difference is that here they are unbranched and here they are branched. and they are present in the heart, right? They are present in the heart and they are involuntary in the function. And they also contains the nucleus, right? So this is nucleus. Now next we will move to the last type of the animal tissue, that is nervous tissue, right? So the last one is the nervous tissue. So this nervous tissue, it is also called as neuron. It is also called as neuron. So what is neuron? So the structural and the functional unit. The structural and functional unit of nervous system. The structural and functional unit of nervous system is called as neuron. So neuron is nothing but what? It is the structural and the functional unit of nervous tissue. So these neurons, they receive the impulses, they receive the stimulus from the sense organ, and those stimulus will be sent to the brain, right? So these neurons, they receive the stimulus. For example, if somebody touch me with a sharp needle, right? So when somebody touch me with a sharp needle, that is a stimulus, right? And that stimulus will be received by the neurons, and that stimulus is carried by those neurons to the brain. In the brain will predict that one, somebody has touched you with a sharp object, right? And this response will be sent back to that particular part of the body by another set of the neuron, right? So in general, these neuron or the nervous tissue help in the conduction of the impulses, right? And those impulses or the stimulus will be sent to the brain. So the brain will decide that what response has to be done, right? If somebody will touch you with a sharp needle, then whatever the response will be there, that will be decided by the brain, and the brain will send that response again to that particular part of the body, and when it will reaches there, then you will respond, that then you will remove or pull back your hand, right? So everything, so whatever the stimulus will be there, right? Those will be received by your sense organ. It may be like eye, nose, right, ear, skin. So whatever the impulses or the stimulus will be due to these sense organ will be received by this neuron, right? So now let us study about the structure of the neuron. So the neuron is having the following parts, right? So this is the structure of a neuron. So already you have studied this one in your 8th standard, right? So what are the types here? So these neurons are having the cell body, and that cell body is called as the cyton, right? So it is having the cyton. So the cell body is called as the cyton, and this cyton is having the nucleus, and inside the cyton there is a fluid. There is a fluid which is called as a neuroplasm. It is called as what? Neuroplasm. And this is nucleus. This is nucleus, and this part is called as what? Cyton, right? And this part is called as cyton. So cyton, it means that the cell body. And from this cyton, you will see that there are some protoplasmic strands or protoplasmic branches are arising, and these branching or these branches are called as dendrites. They are called as dendrites, right? And these dendrites, they receive the impulses from the sense organ, right? It means that they carry the impulses towards the cell body, right? What is that? So these dendrites receives the stimulus towards the cell body, right? And in the neuron, one of the cytoplasmic strand or one of the protoplasmic strand become extended like this, right? Become extended and forms a long tube like a structure, and this is called as axon. It is called as what? Axon. And this axon is having the branches, and these branches are called as terminal branches, right? So here in the structure of the neuron, cyton, right? Then dendrites, axon, and then this is called as the terminal branches. These axon, they carries the messages away from the body. It means that, see, I told you that these dendrites, they receive the stimulus from the sense organ. See, now they receive the stimulus from the sense organ, and those stimulus or those impulses will be sent to the axon, and then axon will, from the axon it will move to the terminal branches. In our body, these neurons are arranged. There is a network of the neuron is there. They forms the network of the neuron. It means that this is one neuron. Okay, this is one neuron. Now here there is a next neuron like this. So like this, these neurons will reach to the brain or to the spinal cord. So they form the network up to there. Now when they receives the impulses from the sense organ, it is received by the dendrites. That's why I told that they receives the impulses towards the body, towards the cell body. From these dendrites, it comes to axon, and from the axon, so axon, now it is carrying the stimulus away from the body. See, so these are arranged like this. Now the stimulus from here, it comes to the terminal branches, and again from these terminal branches, this stimulus will be received by the dendrites of successive neuron. Again it will goes to the axon, then to the terminal branches, and again that stimulus will be received by the dendrites of the next neuron. And here one thing that we have to remember, these neurons are not connected to each other. There is a microscopic gap between a hair-like gap, right? Just like microscopic gap is present between the neuron, and this microscopic gap is called as synapse. It is called as what? Synapse, right? So here when the stimulus will become, then it will be received by the dendrites of the another neuron through the synapses. So what is synapses or synapse? So synapse is the microscopic gap between the two consecutive neuron, right? So this is about the nervous tissue. So note down today's homework. Draw a structure of neuron Draw and explain. Draw and explain the structure and functions. Structure and functions of nervous tissue or neuron. Function of neuron. So this completes your second lesson. Thank you.